The Win Records deal, $8 million deal. Where would Papoose get $8 million from to give to Claressa for fights? When we got pawn shop receipts from Remy Ma of Papoose pawning, is this a chain or a jacket? A bracelet? A necklace? Remy Ma claims that Papoose pawned her bracelet because he needed cash. She said he was broke. He didn't help.
Stop scrolling right now, because what just hit the internet is the kind of rumor that detonates on impact. Within minutes, timelines erupted, comment sections turned hostile, and fans were left staring at their screens, asking how a story this wild could even surface. Reports are swirling that controversial claims, shocking allegations, and law enforcement rumors are somehow colliding into one explosive narrative. And the speed of it all is terrifying. Nothing has been confirmed, but that has not slowed the chaos. Names everyone recognizes are suddenly being dragged into the same sentence. And the implications alone are...
Papoose was out here looking for a trick. And he got one. Yes, beautiful girl, beautiful, gorgeous girl. Y'all ain't gonna tell me Claressa ugly. I'm sorry, she's not. She don't care what 50 Cent got to say. At this point, the way 50 Cent running through women around here, I don't even think he really like women.
Are enough to shake reputations. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high instantly, and the internet did what it does best, choosing sides before facts ever arrive. Some say this is reckless commentary gone too far. Others insist something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes. What makes this moment so dangerous is not what has been proven, but how fast speculation is becoming belief. Silence is being interpreted as guilt. Rumors are being treated like evidence. And the family was left divided in the court of public opinion. This is not just gossip anymore. This is the kind of online firestorm that changes everything the moment it goes viral. Listen closely, because what is unfolding across social media right now feels.
She was live in the Louis Vuitton store buying Louis Vuitton bags and a duffel bag. Posted the receipt of the duffel bag online, had Papoose give her a Louis Vuitton box with a duffel bag in it, and forgot that she had posted the receipt stating that she bought the duffel bag that he gave her. Then she said, hey, can you get this online so people would think you bought me something? Okay.
Less like routine celebrity chatter and more like a storm that refuses to settle. Timelines are buzzing, group chats are exploding, and fans are glued to their screens as shocking reports begin to circulate involving familiar names and an allegation so heavy it has split opinion right down the middle. This is not a confirmation, not a verdict, but a wave of claims that people say are being whispered behind the scenes and debated loudly in public spaces, according to what is being reported. Tasha K has once again been pulled into the spotlight after allegedly referencing a deeply personal accusation connected to Claressa Shields, with Papoose's name dragged into the narrative through late-night rumors and unverified encounters. The mention of an alleged medical claim instantly raised eyebrows, with many asking how such a serious topic even entered the conversation. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the comment sections quickly turned into battlegrounds of belief and disbelief. Where there is smoke, there must be fire, according to some online voices, while others maintain that this is just another instance of internet pandemonium getting out of hand. Dramatic reactions are being analyzed frame by frame, screenshots are being discussed, and anonymous insiders are being quoted. This can't be real, but why is everyone acting like something big is coming? Reportedly wrote an admirer. Silence always means something. Watch what happens next, retorted another dot as if that weren't enough.
Don't know if she got it from Win Records. Y'all have to watch Claressa Shields' cousin's interview. Even though y'all had a disdain for her, I don't think she was lying on Claressa. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second.
Reports of an FBI arrest started to circulate with the allegations, escalating the already tense situation. There are no formal declarations, no verified records, only an increasing feeling that something explosive is being alluded to, but never fully disclosed. Critics questioned motivations, supporters took sides, and the family became split. Additionally, the silence from individuals involved made the narrative seem even louder just when they believed the drama had peaked. At this point, speculation takes hold and questions start to arise. As fans tried to figure out how these identities even came into contact in the first place, the tension only increased as the internet discussion shifted from astonishment to conjecture. Rumor has it that everything stems from a slew of alleged late-night encounters that took place far from the public eye. Whispered meetings are described in some blogs, while coincidental run-ins that subsequently grew into something much larger are suggested in others. Even though none of it has been verified, the way the tale spread gave many people who were observing from the outside a sense of realism. Claressa Shields' name started to trend, along with shocked and irate remarks as the story progressed. Supporters hurried to defend her, citing her discipline, public persona, and the absence of any confirmed statement to corroborate these assertions. One fan said that the internet had gone too far this time and that it felt rash and harsh to even bring up such charges without evidence. Another contended that such rumors have the power to ruin reputations before the truth has a chance to be heard. Others, however, concentrated on Tasha K, who was easily blamed due to her penchant for inciting trouble. Online reports indicated that she had alluded to personal information in discussions that were never intended to be shared outside of limited circles, while some claim she never made any direct accusations. Others maintain that her remarks were intended to elicit just this response, as statements, clips, and first-hand accounts were shared and reposted, with each version being a little more dramatic than the last. Emotions ran high. The inclusion of Papoose's name merely fueled the flames. Fans speculated about his role in the narrative, ranging from a harmless connection to something far more scandalous. According to a source cited in internet conversations, his purported nights with Claressa served as the foundation for the entire myth, transforming private connections into a public spectacle. Papoose's supporters fiercely resisted, claiming it was unjust and harmful to include him in unsubstantiated allegations. The comment sections became into virtual battlefields where allegiances and friendships were put to the test. While some people cautioned against believing anything without official confirmation, others requested receipts. Strangers speculated on how loved ones may be feeling as these tales went unchecked, drawing the relatives of the individuals involved into the conversation as well. Public opinion of the family was split, with some people steadfastly supporting their family members and others remaining silent in the hopes that the storm would pass as the hours stretched into days. One of the most discussed aspects of the narrative was Claressa Shields' silence. Fans argued over whether remaining silent was a show of confidence or a calculated tactic to prevent the story from spreading. While the internet did what it normally does, some thought that legal teams were already involved behind the scenes, suggesting prudence. Others believed that all could have been stopped with a straightforward denial. But there was no such statement. Meanwhile, rumors continued to circulate, adding fresh details that further clouded the issue. Posts and videos started to show hints of law enforcement interest, with some mentioning the FBI's involvement in passing without providing specifics. These assertions were dramatic enough to draw attention even if they were ambiguous and frequently conflicting. All of a sudden, the story was about hypothetical investigations and impending repercussions. Rather than just accusations, fans who were watching from a distance said they were worn out by the mayhem but couldn't take their eyes off it. One spectator commented that, although the characters were genuine individuals with real lives, it was like watching a reality program in real time. Another claimed that the charges' emotional impact made it difficult to ignore, but the frequent twists made it harder to know what to believe. Voices demanding accountability found it difficult to be heard during all of this. A few critics advised viewers that making health-related claims while treating them as amusement is dangerous. They asked people to keep in mind that rumors, whether or not they are accurate, can have long-lasting negative effects. Nevertheless, subtle messages were sometimes overshadowed by louder, more dramatic interpretations that hinted at shocking discoveries to come. This story gradually changed from the initial assertion to the effect it was having as the conversation went on. Fans were now analyzing motives rather than only disputing facts. Why would someone let a rumor like this spread? Who gains from this disorder? Is it about power, retaliation, or just the excitement of seeing a well-known person falter? As the plot proceeded to develop in unexpected ways, these issues remained unresolved, leaving the audience torn between curiosity and distrust. According to sources on the internet, the increasing strain started to manifest in the responses of those closest to the issue. Claressa's pals reportedly felt offended and frustrated because they thought her hard-earned reputation was being dragged into a situation she never agreed to. Claressa had battled her entire life to be appreciated for her power and discipline, not reduced to whispers and hearsay, according to one purported close acquaintance. Thousands of people responded to that comment alone, many of them expressing the same disappointment at how quickly the story had become ugly. Conversely, discussions around Tasha K become more contentious. She was being unfairly condemned, according to her defenders, for repeating what she claimed to have heard from others. Critics retaliated, claiming that making unsubstantiated allegations is equivalent to repeating them. Some even claimed that this particular moment felt intimate, as though unresolved disputes and long-standing grudges were resurfacing through suggestive clues and coded language. People's emotions were running high as they analyzed every interview footage, live stream, and previous feud in an attempt to find hints as to why this story had suddenly surfaced. Another major point was Papoose's silence. Fans anticipated a response, a denial, or at the very least an ambiguous remark, but none materialized. This absence gave rise to other theories that soon became independent. Some said that in order to avoid legal issues, his team was telling him to be silent. Others said he was surprised to be mentioned at all and didn't want to confront the rumor in order to validate it. In any case, supporters were uncomfortable with his name continuing to trend with such grave accusations. Alleged text exchanges and screenshots started to circulate as rumors grew, but none of them were confirmed. Timelines displayed clipped chats and blurry photos, each of which was the missing piece of the puzzle. Skeptics drew attention to discrepancies, pointing out dates that didn't match and ambiguous usernames. However, believers contended that even pieces implied that something was being concealed. People chose sides based more on who they trusted than on the facts as the debate grew more heated. There were rumors that the loudness had a significant impact on the relatives of those engaged. According to one message, a relative was telling everyone to stop spreading false information since the stress was getting to them. Another claimed that family members were having clandestine discussions behind closed doors in an effort to protect one another from the worst of the cyberacts. In addition to public opinion, the family was split on how to react, whether to fight back or wait for the storm to pass. When some fans started to doubt the media's role in spreading these kinds of claims, the conversation's tone changed once more. Reaction films proliferated, with each artist adding their own dramatic twist while disclaimers were offered in passing and soon forgotten. Viewers observed how readily conjecture may become seen reality after being repeated many times. According to one comment, the internet has taken on the roles of judge, juror, and executioner without ever requesting proof. There were persistent rumors of official participation. Vague references to authorities and probes persisted, frequently without citations. While some regarded it as sheer fabrication intended to frighten people into quiet, others claimed to have heard rumors of government attention. Nevertheless, the concept by itself created a sense of mystery and terror that captivated viewers. Every update seemed to provide a unique twist, even if it went against the previous one. A few voices attempted to change the narrative amid the mayhem. They claimed that this was more about the speed at which stories spread online than it was about any one accusation. They cautioned against the potentially disastrous effects of health-related rumors, particularly those associated with stigma. These posts received some attention, but not quite as much as the dramatic videos that promised startling revelations. Fans talked of feeling torn. Some acknowledged that, while knowing it was immoral, they were captivated by the drama. Others claimed that even though they felt bad about watching, they were unable to turn away. The story's emotional appeal stemmed from its ambiguity and the persistent hint that a significant revelation was imminent. More than any real facts, it was this expectation that kept the discourse going. As time went on, the ambiguity developed into a conflict in and of itself. There are a rising number of perspectives piled on top of one another. But there are neither definite denials nor confirmations. People started to question whether the truth, whatever it was, would ever come to light, or if it would just go into the annals of online scandals. Not because of fresh information, but rather because the story had become a mirror, showing how easily rumor can triumph over reality. The names involved continued to trend as additional pundits entered the discussion, each claiming to have a source or insider knowledge. The mood became increasingly intense. Hours-long live streams were interspersed with dramatic pauses and provocative language that alluded to disclosures without really making them, instead of the one statement that may make all the difference. Viewers were riveted to their screens, waiting for more speculation to pile on top of speculation. The speed at which the issue changed from rumors to a full-fledged spectacle has people in disbelief. Some internet comments asserted that Claressa was enraged behind the scenes due to what they called character assassination rather than fear. These accounts said that she was wondering who she could trust anymore and how her name got caught up in stories that portrayed her as irresponsible or thoughtless. Gossip pages purportedly posted discussions in which she vented two close friends about feeling deceived by the industry she had fought so hard to advance in. These tales, whether true or made up, gave the drama that was developing more emotional weight. Meanwhile, Tasha K's platform turned into a battlefield. Every post she published, even ones that had nothing to do with it, received a barrage of comments asking for clarification or condemning her of going too far. Critics cautioned that boundaries had been exceeded, while supporters pushed her to remain steadfast and praised her for being fearless and daring. Some contended that the way the allegations were phrased made it possible for them to proliferate without being held accountable, causing harm while concealing it behind the term alleged. Conflict between the right to free speech and accountability has become a major topic of discussion in comment sections. Worldwide, Papoose's name was coming up in strange places. Reaction channels examined his previous interviews, looking for anything that might be reinterpreted using this fresh perspective. For those who were desperate to make connections, everything appeared suspicious. Pause here, a giggle there. Others objected, claiming that this approach was deceitful and unjust. Nevertheless, the story continued to develop, including more historical events into the current storm. Fans and onlookers began to realize that the story was also having an impact on strangers. Influencers, athletes, and singers who had previously been pictured with any of the names involved were abruptly brought into discussions they had nothing to do with. There were inquiries, presumptions, and requests for explanations. It demonstrated the extent to which rumors may spread, causing collateral damage to entire social groups. As people saw how easily affiliation alone could become a disadvantage, their emotions were running high. A few legal-minded observers added another twist. They discussed responsibility, defamation, and the long-term effects of reiterating unsubstantiated health claims. Their measured, serene tones stood in stark contrast to the explosive energy that pervaded most videos. This change was welcomed by several viewers who described it as a much-needed reality check. Others dismissed it as evasive or dull, preferring the excitement of ambiguity over reasoned conversation. The suspicion that the government were involved persisted like a shadow. Every time a rumor appeared to fade, someone would bring up investigations once more, rekindling curiosity and anxiety. The term arrest rumor swirl kept appearing in captions and thumbnails, Even though no official declarations or documentation were found, regardless of the veracity of the proposal, it became evident that it was sufficient to keep viewers interested. Private life were reportedly strained. According to posts, families were struggling to explain to younger relatives why their names were trending for all the wrong reasons, according to one purported insider. Trust concerns were developing as people began to wonder who may talk next or divulge more information. The family was split between those who thought silence was the best course of action and those who wanted to face the cacophony. Head-on, some viewers were weary as the days went by. They started to wonder why they continued to pursue a narrative that provided no clear solutions. Others said that they now checked the drama first thing in the morning and last thing at night as part of their daily ritual, driven by the belief that clarity was imminent. The cycle of indignation, expectation, and disappointment continued. In more subdued areas of the internet, one subject kept coming up throughout it all. People thought about how simple it is to turn serious subjects into amusement. They made the point that there are actual people coping with worry, anxiety, and perplexity behind every headline. These voices struck a profound chord with individuals who were prepared to stop and listen, even though they didn't go viral. Unresolved. The story continued to develop through the collective imagination of an audience yearning for drama and significance rather than through facts. A peculiar change started to occur as the story went on. What began as loud allegations and theatrical framing gradually evolved into an endurance test for all parties. Once daily creators started to space out their uploads, not because they had answers, but rather because the audience appeared divided. While some begged for the story to end, others wanted it to continue getting more intense. Fans are astounded not only by the allegations, but also by the length of time that doubt can persist without a conclusion. Rumor had it that discussions were taking place behind closed doors that the general public would never hear. Whispers indicated that counselors, attorneys, and reps were advising prudence and cautioning that every word spoken online could have repercussions. These rumors claim that some individuals felt caught between protecting themselves and avoiding more attention. Once perceived by detractors as guilt, quiet began to appear more like self-preservation to those who were paying closer attention. The focus returned to Claressa's purported emotional state, but this time the tone was different. Stories described fatigue rather than rage. Posts stated that in order to deal with the cacophony, Chu was concentrating on discipline, training, and establishing a regimen. Fans reframed her as resilient rather than defensive by sharing inspirational videos from her past. Although the rumors were not eliminated by this reframing, their influence was lessened for those who desired to trust in her power. According to persistent rumors, Papoose was irritated by the way his name kept coming up without his voice being heard. Commentators conjectured that he felt like a shadow utilized to create suspense in someone else's novel. While some admirers contended that his restraint demonstrated maturity, others maintained that it was a calculated silence. Once more, perception became reality for many viewers. An interpretation took the place of evidence. The public's perception of Tasha K's role kept changing. Some started to view her more as a symbol of how commentary culture flourishes, on the verge of implication, than as a whistleblower. Discussions concerning accountability versus relevance surfaced, raising the question of whether raising serious concerns without providing proof benefited the public or just created mayhem. Supporters retorted that it was important to ask questions, since suffering frequently comes before the truth. Another level of drama emerged from the argument itself. The focus of reaction videos changed from shock to analysis, in order to analyze not only what was said, but also why it struck such a chord. The creators slowed down their pace. They discussed media trust, how viewers are conditioned to anticipate scandal, and how repetition can make even the weakest rumors seem significant. Not because of fresh information, but rather because viewers recognize themselves in the excitement. Emotions were running high during these conversations. Once the loudest hook, the arrest rumors started to fade into the background. They became less acute without verification, but they never completely vanished. They remained as a warning about the ease with which authority may be used to support a narrative. Some viewers acknowledged that they had shared posts without carefully reading them because they believed that official action had already taken place. Uncomfortable introspection was prompted by that. Discovery. Everyone was reportedly being urged by close friends and relatives to take a step back and realize life outside of screens and comment sections. Long-term reputations, mental health, and the fact that the internet never really forgets were the main topics of purported private advice. The family was split by tactics more than belief, with different perspectives on how to proceed in a world that relies heavily on reaction. The audience itself appeared to grow up toward the end of this chapter. Comments became more inquisitive and less explosive. In the era of clips and commentary, people questioned what proof actually looks like. They questioned how many other tales they had taken at face value. This change brought a pause, a collective breath in the midst of pandemonium. But it did not provide closure. Suspended between rumor and actuality, the story remained unresolved. The loop was not ended by a dramatic revelation or a closing declaration. Rather, what remained was a spectacling-cased lesson. Viewers were left with unresolved questions, feelings, and fragments. And as the excitement gradually subsided, many who were paying careful attention realized one thing. Sometimes the loudest drama isn't about what actually happened, but rather about how quickly stories may develop when tension and uncertainty collide. The discussion doesn't end here. Even after all of the story's layers have been revealed, the actual concern is not whether these assertions are true or not, but rather how you interpret them. Are these just boisterous online remarks that escalate into intense drama? Or do they show how potent rumors and conjecture have grown in the media landscape of today? Every conversation about this issue is dominated by uncertainty. Supporters are still in shock, and emotions are still running high. Your voice is important in this situation. Do you believe that articles like this, even when they are presented as accusations and criticism, should be freely addressed? Or do you believe that this type of reporting goes too far? Is silence necessarily a sign of guilt? Or can it occasionally be a strategy to defend oneself from constant public pressure? Please share your opinions in the comments, as each viewpoint brings a fresh perspective to this developing discussion. Make sure you appreciate this video. If you like in-depth analyses of dramatic entertainment headlines that are full of emotional conflicts, surprising assertions, and surprises. To stay up to date on the most recent rumors, commentary, and viral stories rocking social media, subscribe to the channel. Remember to enable notifications because the next twist could appear at any time. Above all, maintain the conversation. See how your friends understand everything that has been shown by sharing this video with them. In the modern world, it's important to examine, analyze, and comprehend how swiftly narratives can develop rather than only watching the drama play out. Your viewpoint might be the next spark that determines the direction of this discussion.